So we've been talking about this idea of mythology, and why is mythology important to leaders? Why is mythology important to this idea of transformation? Why is transformation important to leadership? And for me, the issue is this. We're all living in some way from a myth. However, that myth is almost always invisible to us. It's ubiquitous. It's so present in our life that we can't see it. And yet it keeps showing up for us everywhere. And in fact, that myth drives our performance. It drives what it is that we do on a day-by-day basis. The most essential quality of leadership, the most essential thing that you need to be doing in an ongoing way as leaders, is you need to be making decisions. Now let me stop for a moment there and say, for me, decisions are not what happens in your head. That's not a decision. That's an idea. A decision occurs when something happens out here in the world, when you've done something with that idea that's in your head to make something happen. And here's one of the great tricks of leadership that everyone knows, and yet so few people follow. It's about getting others to implement on the ideas that have been created either by you or with others that you're responsible for seeing executed in some magnificent way. Now, my real message to you is this. We all have a sense that we want to be magnificent. We all have a sense that, in fact, in some way, we're likely to be magnificent. And that we have a magnificent idea that we're waiting to express. And for those of us who are in business, part of that idea is the expression of the business itself. How does the business bring to life, make manifest this magnificent idea that we've been harboring maybe for a lifetime? And yet, despite that essential desire, that yearning, that longing that we have to be magnificent, to see the magnificence that we possess and have harbored for years come into being in the world around us in a manifest, extant way, we wonder quietly and secretly, are we even good enough? So the work that I bring, the work that I do, is first establishing this premise. There's nothing you need to do to be good enough. Now, it sounds strange because the people I work with, like yourselves, are already successful. You know how to succeed. You know how to produce. You know how to win, how to accomplish, how to achieve. And yet, every single time I sit down with someone, regardless of the eliteness of their leadership, the position they hold, the exalted role that they play, they secretly wonder again, what's missing? They understand this concept of success. We've been trained and we've been in some way indoctrinated with this rule of success, which is about achievement. And yet this idea that we want is really about satisfaction. And satisfaction doesn't exist in the moment. That's the funny thing about it. You see, satisfaction exists in our future. It's the idea that we're building to a legacy. Something that is meaningful not just to ourselves, but to those that we've contributed to when we're no longer here. And this is really part of what it is to be magnificent as a leader, is to be able to step into that position where you know how to build a legacy that will sustain even when you're no longer there. That you're committed to making manifest something you may never see come to be. But your job is to prepare the field, to till that soil, to lay those kernels that will eventually germinate, and to give over to others to nurture those into their full being. Now, to do this, you have to first ask the question, who am I? Who am I to do such a thing? This is an ontological question. And we're not used to these kinds of questions, questions about being and who we are. In fact, we've separated the world, and you'll see all around these ideas about, having and being and doing, or being and doing and having or doing, and it's irrelevant. This is a singularity. There is no doing without being. If you don't exist, what could you do? So first, of course, there must be being. But our being is made manifest in what we do. And by virtue of what we do, we get what we have. It's a singularity. It's a single, total expression that's contained in itself, that we fractionate and fragment in our minds. There's no fractionation in the world. The universe consistently emerges, and it emerges in a totality. And when you as leaders learn to step into that totality, that magnificence you possess, the magnificent ideas that you've been harboring, they begin to emerge with you as well. And now something incredible, beyond what you're sitting here, you're even capable of imagining, because you can't contain it. It's not just within you. It's in the totality that we hold ourselves inside of. And while it contains us, we can't contain it. When you step into that, There you'll find magic. And I know this is an unusual idea to bring to a leadership group, a leadership meeting, an event like this. And yet, don't we all want a little bit of magic?